Hey friends, I just got back home from Europe. The tour went great. I had something crazy happen to me in Stockholm that I want to share with you guys. And the best way to talk about that was by giving you a little bit of background. Like with music, this has always been my case. All I really want out of music and out of art to live this creative life is to be able to connect with people. And back when I was a kid, sitting in my bedroom listening to records, just getting lost in them. The idea of creating something in someone else, it connects with them in that way on a human level. That's all I've ever wanted. Now, along the way, when you start to dedicate your life to leading a creative life, you got to make a living. And I figured, well, I'll just end up working a day job. Never thought about making a living from music. And I was probably 40 years old before I was able to make a living, just music. And things get better. They get way better, but they improve so slowly that you don't really notice it as it's happening. It's just the day-to-day life, and one day you look back and realize how far you've come. I had one of those instances. Some people get to take some shortcuts, and they notice that everything has improved dramatically in a short period of time. I've not been that person. I'm not complaining. I've led a DIY life, and I've been able to create and connect with people. But at the gig in Stockholm, when it was over, I walked out to the rental car, and I'll talk about this more in depth. But someone stopped me, and she had a baby, and I'm thinking, what is this all about? She says, Otis, you need to meet my son. And yeah, where are you going with this? And she says, this is my son. His name is Otis. And I paused for a little bit and thinking, what are you trying to tell me? And she says, we named him after you. We love your music and what you do, and we chose to name our son after you. And I just kind of stepped back and was like, really? Somebody in Stockholm cared enough about me to name their kid after me? And, so at this point, I want to backtrack just a little bit and say the tour was great. And the last few days were really hectic. We had snowstorms, and I was having a hard time getting from town to town. I remember getting snowed in somewhere north of Gothenburg and just holed up in a hotel room for a couple days, like 8 inches of snow. And then I finally had to dig the car out and drive to Oslo. Came back down. I think I went to Uvedala, a really nice, fun gig there, and ended up driving to Malmo the next day. It's supposed to be a 4-hour drive. It took about 6 hours because there was crazy snowstorms on the first front end of it. So got to Malmo, played the gig, really great gig, lots of people, energetic, and got up early that next morning. I slept about 5 hours. Got up early because I had a 6-hour drive to Stockholm for that gig, and ended up getting into a bunch of snow. It took 9 hours. 9 hours. So I show up to the gig. I just pull into Stockholm and find a place to park the car, which is not easy, in a major city. And I found some little side street close to the venue. I got my stuff and I walked into the gig, and there were two people coming into the venue right as I did, and man, I felt like crap. I mean, really felt like crap from lack of sleep and just being beat up. And I just got out of the car from a 9-hour drive. You can imagine what that'd feel like. And they were really nice and say, hey, we're big fans and we came to see you. And I'm like, oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I have to go down and sound check. And they were nice. I went down, sound checked, and then just kind of sat there, a little back room, and chilled out. I played the gig. It's one of those nights when you hope that the audience is really into it because it helps you. And if it was a bad night, it would have been really rough, but the audience was great. Really, really energetic. Just singing along, knew the words. That happened a lot on this tour. Really energetic audience. It was a really small room, and we had about 100 people just crammed in, real tight, and just really energetic, fun gig. And it gave me the energy to get through the whole thing. So when this was over, I had to go to the airport, which is probably a 40-minute drive outside of the city, under perfect conditions. And I had to return the rental car, go to the airport where there was inside the airport, I was staying at a hotel there, and then the next morning fly home. So all of this had to happen pretty quickly. And if it went right, I would be in that hotel room for about 6 hours total, if it all went right. This is after sleeping 5 hours the night before and driving 9 hours. So when the gig's done, I apologized to the audience, like, hey, I can't hang out too long. I got to go to the airport. And I packed up my stuff, and I took some pictures with some folks, and we started to walk out. Everybody was really cool, really, really nice folks. And, taking pictures, talking. So there's that moment when you start to leave. You start to leave the gig, and you realize it's going to take a half hour to get out of the gig, because people will stop, and they're nice, and you want to be nice. And so it took about that long just to get out of there. And I'm feeling really guilty at the time, and I'm feeling guilty today, because these people were nice. I'm in frickin' Stockholm, and these people know my music and care about it. That's everything I ever wanted. People in other parts of the world that care about what I'm doing. It's everything I ever wanted out of this. And here it is. And I have to make it to the airport, and I can't. So I'm trying to be nice and hang out a little bit. And I'm just dead tired. And standing outside in front of the venue, talking, and like the last pictures are taken and all of that. And I start walking to the car. And I get to the car, wherever it's at, and I start to open the hatchback to throw my guitar in there and all of that. And I hear somebody, hey Otis. And I turned around, and it's the woman with the baby. And cute little baby. Really mellow, which is really good for my namesake. But she said, I just want you to meet Otis. He's, it's our son. We named him after you. Now, before she said all of this, I'm thinking, what the hell is this going to be? And you can insert your joke there. But I'm thinking, I wanted to, whenever there's a serious situation, I tend to break it down with humor and joke about it a little bit. So when she says, I named him after you, I want to say, don't think, does this mean I have to pay for his college? I'm wanting to joke like that. And, but he's Swedish, so his college is taken care of. But it was beautiful. It was really nice. I've had a couple other instances like this. It's the first time anybody ever named a kid after me that I know of. If I'm wrong, tell me. But lots of dogs, lots of cats named after me. And there's a guy in Ireland years ago who sent me an email, reached out, and said that they put some of my lyrics on his dad's tombstone. And there's a song I wrote called Bury Me on a Rainy Day. It's off of an album I made called Grandpa Walked a Picket Line. And Bury Me on a Rainy Day, the line is, here lies a good man in a world that has few. And people seem to like that. I haven't played that live in many years. I probably ought to break that out again sometime. But he put that on his dad's tombstone. That's pretty serious, heavy stuff. And at the time, I just didn't know how to process that. I thought it was beautiful. I was like, man, you just don't expect that. It's what you hope for. You hope that you're connecting with people and people care. It's like this YouTube thing. There are people out there listening that I may never meet, but they're nice folks, and we're spending time together and enjoying life, lowering your blood pressure, hopefully, in some way. You're lowering mine, that's for sure. But there was another guy, I believe in England, who put those same lyrics on his father's tombstone. So sometimes things happen that you just don't see coming. But like I said, it's a very long, I tell this to young people, like, if you can get in the fast car that takes you somewhere quickly and all of that, that's great, jump in it. But most of us don't have that car waiting for us. So you're going to have to start walking. You walk one step at a time, and after years, you have walked quite a distance. And you reach quite a few people, one gig at a time, one video at a time, one podcast at a time, whatever. But so like I said, things have improved dramatically for me over the years, and it's nice to be reminded how far I've come in as far as connecting to people. And when somebody shows you a baby in Stockholm that has your name, that reminds you of a lot of stuff. But all right, I'm gonna go inside. It's a little bit chilly here in Indiana, and I'll see you guys down the road. Much love to you.